Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions. Let's talk about them. So obviously they need a quarterback, right? Because Patrick Mahomes, he's just not getting it done. You know, he sucks. Hopefully you guys took that as a joke. Patrick Mahomes is there. And with Patrick Mahomes means two things, all right? First, you have an absolute freaking stud at quarterback who's going to win you a lot of games without having to have a lot of great players around him. And two, he's going to get players to come to the team because he's Patrick Mahomes. He's MVP last year, Super Bowl MVP, and Super Bowl champion, which has not been done, I don't think, ever at his age. So, damn, Patrick, stop chasing my boy Brady at this point, honestly, for the GOAT position. I mean, if there's anybody, there's side rant. Anybody that has a chance, it's Mahomes, honestly. So let's look at what the Chiefs need. So obviously I have my needs there. They have a maneuverable amount of cap space to sign some needs that they have. But the fascinating part and the interesting thing that I'm going to look at is they still need to franchise tag Chris Jones. So that's first and foremost, what do they do with Chris Jones? I think they franchise tag him, and I think they keep him around for one more season. They could trade him, but if I'm the Chiefs, I'm doing everything I can to keep Chris Jones around for one more season and potentially into the future, right? Because he is, other than Aaron Donald, the best damn interior defensive lineman in the NFL. There's nobody better outside of Aaron Donald. So I'm keeping him because he can transform a defense, change games, and he changes the game for that defense just the way Mahomes does on offense for them. So he is crucial for their future. And he's young, he seems to be a good teammate, and he makes freaking plays. And I would have argued he was the Super Bowl MVP. Just saying. If you have to trade him, though, I'm trading him next year. I'm trying to repeat this year and trading him next year if I have to. Then again, you could look at it as maybe we can trade him for his value now. Maybe they have to trade him this offseason. That's an interesting question and an interesting dilemma. Let me know what you think about that. I think Pinnell will be back. Ogba, I think they would like to have back, but I just don't think they have the money to do so. But he was good for them when he played. Alex Okafor will be back from injury. I think that's solid. I think they'll keep him. Frank Clark was great, and they obviously signed. I think Nandi is going to be good next year. Better, I should say. He was pretty good last year once he got a hold of things as a rookie. Passanio and Speaks are solid backups. I don't think they're ever going to be like starters, but I don't think they need to be. The only question is, if you move on from Jones, what happens in the defensive line, right? So if you move on from Jones, there are some options that you could go to at defensive line. So you could bring in Snacks Harrison to fill the void. You could bring in Jerron Reed as a pass rushing type instead of the... You could bring in Hargrave as a pass rushing type. You could bring in Jarrell McCoy, who's looking to win. You could bring in Sue. You could bring in Daniels. These veteran guys that will want to play for the Chiefs. Phillips from the Bills is a pass rushing type, if you're looking for that type. I don't exactly know what the Chiefs will do if they move on from Jones, but those are some names that I would fancy. Linebackers, I think, are a need for them. I think Littleton would be amazing, but they don't have the money to do it. I could see Jamie Collins playing for them if they were willing to pay a decent amount, but I think Collins would probably get the same amount from New England as he does from Kansas City, so I don't really see him leaving New England, unless Brady leaves, to Kansas City. I think Michael Kendricks would be a really good athletic piece for the linebacking group, which I think they need athletes at linebacker. That would be a good one for not a lot of money. Kwiatkowski would be one. I think Trevathan can still play. I think Bradham would be a good one. All those guys are potential possibilities. I think Sean Lee actually would be not a bad ad. Grugier Hill is a super athletic linebacker from the Eagles. all those guys are a possibility. I think they move on from Raglan. I just don't think that they like him anymore. Like, in terms of, he's just big, he's slow, I don't think he's what they need. Damian Wilson played well for them last year, and Anthony Hitchens started to play better. At corner, they don't really have anybody on their roster outside of Ward, who might be their best one. Fuller is probably going to move on because he's going to get money elsewhere. Breland could be back for cheap. Claiborne, same thing, could be back for cheap. Safety, they're good because Matthews is a stud and Thornhill is turning into a stud. But corner, I think, like a guy like Roby or Poole or one of these younger names, Jimmy Smith would be interesting for them. All these guys that can play man-to-man. I think Chris Harris would play for the Chiefs, but he might be too much money. I think what they should do is bring back Breland, have Ward, and then sign somebody else. I don't know who it's going to be exactly. Maybe it's Jimmy Smith. Maybe it's Roby. Maybe it's Denard. Maybe it's Waynes. Maybe it's Logan Ryan. I don't know. One of these guys in free agency, and you draft probably one in the later rounds. They don't have any high draft picks. Left guard is also fascinating for them because there's not a lot of big names. I think they bring back Wisniewski. That's my guess. And they might draft somebody to back him up. That would probably be the safe play. Do they end up moving on from Sammy Watkins? That's another option that they have to consider. He's a lot of money. He might not be worth all that money, although he played well in the stretch run there. Demarcus Robinson might be gone as well. But they have Hardman, they have Hill. Those are the two foundational pieces. Maybe you bring in other receivers. I think receiver is an option for them. Obviously, you have Kelsey at tight end. Do you bring in a smaller, maybe you bring in Nelson Aguilar for the slot. Maybe you bring in Philip Dorsett for another speed guy. I don't know. There's a lot of guys. Rashard Higgins is an under-the-radar type of guy. So there's options for them at receiver as well. But again, this draft has amazing receivers. The Chiefs, they're just looking to repeat. They're looking to be great again. They'll definitely be in the conversation. And I'm sure that they'll make the right decisions on their way there because they've been trustworthy in that regard. They want to win. They're all the way in on winning with Patrick Mahomes right now. And it seems like Mahomes is also all the way in and not rushing getting his contract done. So that's great.